On
Yes,
behalf of
sir.
Judges McBrayer and McClarty, welcome to the Court of Appeals. I believe you've been sort of briefed on the process. Is that
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes.
you know, we generally don't yell at people or anything like that, and you certainly can't bite through the computer. So just try and relax. And I know this is an abnormal process for both of you, but it will be fine. And if we have any glitches in the computers or anything, we'll stop, get it all fixed, and then go on. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, Ms. Dempsey, would you please call the case?
Kendra C. Killian versus Aubrey D. Moore.
Okay, the appellant is Kendra Killian. So you've reserved 2 minutes for rebuttal, so you have 13 minutes to talk to us.
Yes, sir.
You may
Alrighty.
begin.
Okay, so I first want to start off by saying that my human rights, my civil rights, my parental rights, my victim rights, my privacy rights, HIPAA rights, due process, a law, right to just about anything has been violated during this whole process. At no point at any time throughout any of the proceedings that have happened in the last 3 years have I been proven unfit or even attempted to be proven unfit. And yet somehow I've managed to lose custody of one, but only one of my kids. I have no visitation, no rights at all. I've been violated every single parental right. I don't get my phone calls. I have no visits. And there's absolutely no legal reason to have done that. And then there's also, I've been given no opportunity to regain my rights. I've been given no opportunity to come back to court and prove anything. I've filed motion after motion, which was ignored by the judge in Wilson County, that I've provided proof and evidence over and over and over again. And I've been denied the right to show all of that. I've had witnesses. I've been denied the right to have them. And this all started when I married Mr. Moore. I actually was on a medication called Zoloft. It was prescribed to me for anxiety. I've had anxiety for a lot of years. I was not even in a relationship with Mr. Moore when I married him, which should be a pretty good indicator that something wasn't right with my medication. During the time I was married to him, when I realized that I was under a medication that was causing me to make some really irrational thoughts, I quickly quit taking it, told him I wanted a divorce. He was not living in the room with me. And a few months later, I found out I was pregnant. I had been prescribed Ambien. I had been taking Ambien. He had been giving me the Ambien himself. I filed a police report, which was taken as I believe, a matter of record, because that was actually rape, because he was not at all had my consent. I filed that police report, and unfortunately they were not able to prove it, which doesn't mean that it didn't happen and doesn't take away my rights as a victim to feel safe. When I finally got him to agree to a divorce, because he made threats and scared me and concerned me that I was going to lose my child, so it took me 3 years to get him to agree to the divorce. He agreed to the divorce under agreed upon terms. It was an uncontested divorce. And then he waited 29 days and tried to set aside our divorce and undivorce me. So for several years, he stalked me, he threatened me, harassed me. I was able to get orders of protection in Davidson County because he wouldn't stop. It was proven in court. He was not given overnight visits of our kid. Part of the reason why is because he is in our divorce decree. It says he is never to have our child around Joshua Moore, which is his son, because his son has been accused. He was not convicted because the child was forced to lie, but he was accused of molesting Mr. Moore's granddaughter and his daughter. And so that was an issue for me of him being around my kid, which is still in the divorce decree and still a current order. And he is still currently in contempt, bringing my daughter around him. During the time that we were divorced for 9 years, he had no problem seeing our child while I was present, because he never stopped trying to get me to take him back. then that we had some issues with order of protection. So I got remarried in 2018. And when I did, I ended up finding out that my husband at the time had a drug problem. He had an affair with a girl named Charity Riker, which apparently Charity Riker is a very dishonest, very not good human. And after all my experiences in dealing with Mr. Moore, I was scared for my safety. And I filed for an order of protection, which is what they used to take emergency custody of my kid. When they took the emergency custody, my kid was living at home with me. She was perfectly fine. And Mr. Smith, who was my husband at the time, didn't even live here anymore. We've now been divorced for almost 3 years. And when we went to court for this temporary custody over and over for over 2 years, it was temporary, which is an extreme amount of time for anything to be considered temporary. When we went to court for that, she finally took my kid based on a psych eval. Psych eval was read out loud in court and said that that I now have PTSD and paranoia issues. Well, the psych evaluator, who they actually court-ordered me to go to, also indicated that the reason why I likely have the paranoia and PTSD is due to Mr. Moore himself, and that's in the record, as you'll be able to see if you haven't already. And so it also should be noted that Mr. Moore was also court-ordered to see the same psych doctor, and he did not go to have his. So somehow mine was used against me, and he didn't even show up to his. When I moved to Wilson County, he moved it to Wilson County without any notice. Like, he didn't give me notice, which he stated he did, and he lied, and which is wrong, because I should have had notice so that it could have been the opportunity be given to me to keep it in Davidson County. Additionally, when he moved it to Wilson County, he had a friend who he, outside of court, had appointed as a guardian ad litem, and you'll see in the court record, the whole record shows that she was not appointed in court. She was not appointed correctly. She was not appointed in a way that either one of us should have been considered indigent, and the judge signed it after the fact. Mr. Moore was given an order of protection against me that was completely illegal. I did nothing for him to have been able to warrant getting one. I didn't see or speak to my kid for 2 months. I was forced to pay for supervised visits, and I had never done anything to my child or put my child in harm's way. He was able to get a order of protection against my then husband, Mr. Smith, who he had never met, which also doesn't meet the statute of that. I've never been proven unfit, never accused of being unfit. He's proven himself unfit. I have three other daughters. 2 are grown. They're college graduates. They're both employed. They're both very successful. I have another daughter who's 15 years old, who's currently in college, and she's doing great. There is also a duty to report, and if there was any issues or any concerns at any point that anyone felt like any of my children were in danger, then why would one child be in danger but not the other? So that's something else that should be noted. But the fact that, you know, I've testified repeatedly about what has happened in these orders of protection, and it got nowhere. But it's everything that's been done is illegal. Everything you can see in the record shows that there was complete bias. If you read, even Mr. Moore argued that the judge gave him custody because she said I called 911 on her. Well, that made it completely personal, completely biased. And at that point, like, there was nothing she could do. I've protested against her. Like, there's nothing that makes her like fair and able to do this. I've asked her to recuse herself. I filed the proper paperwork. She ignored that too. Some other issues and concerns with Mr. Moore, in addition to bringing her around Joshua Moore, is that when she got first put in his care, she started threatening suicide, started cutting herself. That was brought to the judge's attention. The judge said that was just perfectly normal 9-year-old behavior and not a concern. She complained of rectal bleeding during a supervised visit. The supervisor was aware. The guardian ad litem said, take her to the doctor. He was forced to take her to the doctor. And when he did, they didn't even bring it up. So she wasn't even evaluated for that, which is a sign of sexual abuse. He has done nothing but, and he even has put in writing in his paperwork that he has done nothing to try to facilitate our relationship, and in fact has done everything he can to alienate her family, her maternal family, the whole thing. He's refused to get her appropriate medical care, dental care, mental health care. She's gained an incredible amount of weight because he feeds her nothing but junk food. She had a great education here in Wilson County. She was in fact in a gifted program here. There's no opportunities for anything like that in the county she lives in, not opportunities for sports, no opportunities for anything. And he moved over an hour and a half away from me so that it would make it difficult for me to see my kid. And when she put him in charge of whether or not I see my kid, I'm a victim. Like he has sexually assaulted me. He has stalked me, threatened me, harassed me for years. And yet somehow I should be put in a position where I have to have him supervise me with my child. I shouldn't have to be forced to be around him at all. And Tennessee even has laws that he doesn't have to know where I live because I'm a victim. But as far as me being fit and him being fit, the paperwork was not even true or accurate. It was not even done by the judge. The guardian ad litem had to call her out and go back and do it. I have better credit. I have a stable house. He's moved numerous times just in these past couple years. He's been divorced also. He's had many more significant changes in circumstances. He's in his 60s. He's never owned a home. I mean, he moves constantly. Like I have a stable home for my kid. I've lived in the same house for 5 years, and the one before it I lived in for 15. There's no significant change in circumstance. The other things that were taken out of our divorce decree that shouldn't have been is there was a life insurance policy, $400,000. I was supposed to be the beneficiary till she's 18. That was removed. That should have never been removed. He agreed in our divorce to pay 100% of her medical, dental, and everything, and that has not happened. But for her to be in my care for 9 years straight and then all of a sudden be removed and be told you can't see or talk to your mom for 2 months, she's confused, she's traumatized, she needs therapy, she doesn't understand what's going on. And I think it would be mostly in her best interest that if he would have supervised visits. You can see in the history that he continued to keep canceling my supervised visits even when I had them. I was unable to exercise any of those visits while I had them, even though that they were court ordered. He's not been forced to comply with any court order that he, has been ordered to do. The whole, I mean, there's everything is illegal about it, but you also can't take away a kid because the mother has PTSD. Like that's not a threat to my child. Like that's not legal at all. Also the part where her doctor had no consent to diagnose or treat me, and somehow her psych eval mentioned me and my mental health in it, which it shouldn't. But I mean, the mental health issues have been caused by him, and this history, the pattern of the stalking, the threatening, the harassing, and every bit of information that was given to the guardian ad litem because it was a friend of his was hidden. It wasn't put in, and he argued that he didn't want all this stuff put in and just delayed this as long as he could. I mean, everything that was taken out of the divorce should be put back in. I expect that full custody, should be given back to me because that should have never happened in the first place. And I've barely seen my child in 3 years. My children have not seen my child. My parents have not seen my child. And he's being investigated by the TBI for having, kiddie porn on his phone that our child had access to. I mean, these are things that would not make you a fit parent, and yet somehow, and she has no bed currently. Like I pay child support. He makes more money than I do. And the only thing that he does more is he makes more money than I do. And he smokes around my child. Like she's around different people all the time. Like there's just no stability there. And clearly 13 minutes isn't very long. So hopefully I hit the high points.
Well, thank you very much. You'll have your rebuttal time. Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir.
You may begin when ready.
Thank you, sir. What's happened in the past? Right now, we're talking about a child's future, not what's gone on between myself and Miss Killian. Her last husband, according to the child she met at the methadone clinic, she was a nurse at. I also found out that she was released from the Bedford County Sheriff's Department as a nurse for having inappropriate contact with prisoners. The mother has used every means to.
Let's limit our comments to what's in the
Okay.
appellate record. Okay.
Thanks, sir. I will. But the mother has used every means possible to degrade me, to make me look bad. Right now, I'm just thinking of the child's future. She gets visits with the child and I give the child the choice to go to her mother's house. I said, do you want to go to your mother's? And it's like she doesn't, sometimes want to go to her mother's because of her mother's demeanor. Her mother's manipulative. She can be mentally abusive. This last visit she had, the child comes back and said, Mom's telling me that I don't love my family. I don't love my family and stuff like that. And she said, I do love you, but it's just
there
way.
Was a hearing, right, where the child testified?
Yes, there was.
The child testified in front of the judge and the judge's clerk. The guardian ad litem, not in front of
and the guardian ad litem, the first guardian ad litem, Karen Casey, was appointed by Judge Byrd. I'm not a friend with Karen Casey. I'm not a friend with the judge. I'm not a friend with the other ones, but she was appointed by Judge Byrd. Karen Casey was. And then Karen Casey got a job with the Department of Child Services as an attorney. So then Tiffany Hager was appointed as a guardian ad litem. And I have no friendship with either one of these people or the judge, as the mother has testified. They were all appointed by Judge Byrd. But, right now, I'm just thinking about the child's future and everything that has come up.
She testified in front of the judge, right?
Yeah,
yes, right.
She testified. The
judge testimony is not in the record. It's not transcribed, right?
It is transcribed.
It is transcribed.
Yes, the mother paid to have it transcribed. I thought
the judge ordered it not be, but okay, if it's in the record, then great.
It's in the records. But and it's just, the child, she has phone calls with the child. The child has her own phone. Her mother contact her. If the child refuses, I can't make the child answer the phone. I can't. I'm not going to force the child to do something she doesn't want to. She'll be 13 in January. And I kind of give her the choice, that I said that I can't force you to do it. I can't force you to call your mother. I can't force you to talk to your mother. And it's just, all this court stuff has just been stressful on the child. And everything that's been gone through court, with DCS being called on me 3 times, everything has been unfounded. The evaluation was ordered for the mother by DCS. I volunteered to take one. And at the time when the COVID thing was going on, the mother took hers. And when I contacted Dr. Goldstein's office, they were not taking any more patients because of the COVID. So I had to go to a different route. So I had to find another, a therapist to go do an evaluation. But it's just, right now, I'm just trying to think of Carson's future. I mean, she's happy here. A gifted program in Wilson County is no special program for any gifted kid. It's just one of those programs they have. They have the same kind of programs at the school she's going to. She's AB honor roll, her principal's list all the time. She's happy here. She gets medical care. When I got her from her mother, she had 8 cavities. Why didn't her mother get the 8 cavities fixed? So I got all her cavities fixed. I mean, why didn't the mother get them fixed? She had 8. So it's like, I'm just trying to think of Carson's future, and what everything in the past between me and the mother. The mother's trying to get what the mother wants. I'm trying to get what Carson wants and what Carson needs. And she's happy here. She's expressed that. And it's just, when she goes to her mother's house, it just becomes, an argument, and then dad's thrown into it. And, and dad's a liar. His family's crazy. And I mean, there's been numbers of times under the current court order, I could have filed, criminal contempt because her mother keeps saying these things. But I know a criminal contempt would be detrimental to the mother's professional license as a nurse and her real estate. So I've tried to be fair about it, and not, cause any more financial problems for her. But it's just, Carson's, she can be a precocious child, and she asks a lot of questions because she has a lot of things she don't understand. And I tried to explain to her the best I can, but she's happy. And and it's just, and she said Saturday, when she came back from her last visit, she said getting into an argument with mom and she brings dad into it. She brings the court into it. And she said, I just don't want to live in a house where, it's just like that. I said, well, Carson, I can't explain things, or I can't explain your mother. I can't, like, her actions. So it's like, I just try to look out for Carson's future. And like I say, she's doing good in school. She has all her medical, she has regular appointments. She has her counseling appointments that she goes to at Centerstone. I know we've had a little problem here lately with the COVID thing. We've had to do some Zoom stuff, and now she started back with the face-to-face with a new counselor because her last counselor retired. And it's just everything, and of course the deal with my son was false statements made because they found out that the uncle was the one that was actually, molesting the grandchildren. And they used my son, who was almost 17 at the time, as a scapegoat, saying he did it.
They who?
I'm sorry, sir?
You said they. Who is they?
Oh, the children's father, who is now incarcerated in the Rutherford County Jail. But it was him and the mother and stuff like that to get the heat off the uncle. So, but she doesn't have that much contact with hardly anybody around here, other than regular family, the other family members that come around. My oldest daughter, who works at the Rutherford County school at Buchanan as a teacher's assistant. And, she has an older brother that lives in Lawrence County. But, Carson's happy here. And, and it's just everything, this whole court system has just been stressful on her. And I'm trying to get back, and I want her to have a relationship with her mother. But like I said, I can't force her to answer her phone, and I can't force her to send a text. And I said, are you going to go to your mother's? I asked her if she's going to go to her mother's on the weekend. And she's like, no, I don't want to go. I said, well, why don't you want to go? I said, well, I just don't want to go. I just don't want to deal with the hassle, questions and stuff with mother, and it becomes an argument, and then she throws you into it, and she throws the court into it. And it's just stressful on Carson. And I tried to, get through this with Carson. And, the mother says she doesn't get phone calls, but you can look at Carson's telephone log of all the texts and all the phone calls that she's had with her mother. And I've not denied her mother any visitations or any phone calls, because like I said, Carson has her own phone. I don't take her phone from her. She's always got it. And she comes in and she said, well, mom texted me. I said, what did you text her back? I'll text her later. I said, well, you need to go ahead and text your mother, or you need to go ahead and call your mother. But, right now I'm just trying to think of not the past. I'm trying to think of the present and the future for Carson. And it's just going back. If we have to go back through this, all this court stuff again, it's just stressful on her. And it has been stressful on Carson, because it's been times that she's had to go to court to talk to the judge. And a lot of times, so when I go to court, she says, do I have to go? I said, no, you don't have to go this time. And she's like, oh, thank goodness I don't have to go. Because the court system thing, it's hard for her to understand a lot of it, but it's been stressful on her. And, things of the past, things of the past, and, and it's just a change of circumstance. So, I mean, it's like the order of protections the mother's gotten. The last one she got, the judge figured out that she, a lot of it was not true. She was using that, against me, or tried to use it against me. And she got it in general sessions, but when general sessions found out that there was a case in the circuit court, the mother didn't understand that circuit court is a higher court than general sessions, and there's already a case pending in circuit. So Judge Bird, she dropped the she dropped the order of protection because she, saying that the mother was trying to use this to manipulate the system to, get what she wanted. So, and it's, I've always just tried to do the best for Carson. And that's what I try to look at is, what Carson needs and, what Carson wants. I mean, I know the state, on the age thing, 14 and older, they usually allow children to make their own decision. And, Carson's be 13 in January, and I'm just hoping this court will kind of consider the circumstances with Carson. And that's one thing I'm trying to focus on today is, the present and Carson's future. And I want her to have a relationship with her mother. And I try to get her to have one. But when she goes to her mother's for a visit and becomes an argument and she doesn't like what her mother's saying, Easter of last year, I had to drive 3 hours back from Cleveland to pick up Carson because she got in an argument with her mother and she didn't want to be there. So I had to drive 3 hours back from Cleveland. I had to have the police and Mount Juliet police go pick her up because she'd walk down to the park where they lived at. And it just becomes stress, when the child comes home from visits, and it's like, mom said this, mom said that. I'm like, well, I can't speak for your mother, and I don't say nothing bad about her mother here. And Carson will tell you that. We say nothing about her mother. I don't demeanor her mother. I don't, I said, I can't help what drives your mother's decisions on what she does. So, I mean, and then I know in the court records that it was recommended that the mother continue some kind of treatment for her paranoia and stuff, but that was on her. So I don't know if she's done that or not, but I'm just looking out for Carson's future. Like I said, she's happy. She goes to school every day, either AB honor roll or principal's list. And, she loves her school. She does good. All her medical records are up to date. She's got a dental appointment coming next week for her annual checkup. And then after that, she's got her eye vision. So I try to stay on top of this stuff. So she's, regular. I know she's a picky eater. Most kids usually her age usually are. It's kind of hard to get her to eat the good stuff. But I don't feed her a lot of junk. We cook regular meals around here. And, it's just, she's at that age where she's, not wanting to eat this one thing over this thing. But it's just trying to keep her out of the stress or all this court system thing. So it's like, I'm looking at the present and the future for Carson. And, and then I try to give Carson what she needs and I try to give Carson what she wants. We just moved into a new house. Carson's old bed I had to get rid of. Right now, she's kind of sleeping on a cot right now. I had to order her a new bed and it won't be delivered until the 23rd. So I can't speed up the delivery system any faster, but she'll have a new bed and she's happier. She goes to church on Sundays and Wednesday nights and she's happy. And like I said, I don't deny her any visit, any phone calls. I don't deny anything, or saying that she can't call her mother or she can't go visit her mother. It doesn't happen here, and Carson will testify to that.
Well, thank you, Mr. Moore. Your
Thank
time
you,
is
sir.
up. Ms. Killian, I believe you have a couple of minutes in rebuttal.
Okay, so first of all, just about everything he said wasn't even true, but I'm even more concerned about the fact that he even has known every job I've had because he has a history of stalking me and threatening me and harassing me. And the fact that he even knew I had any of those jobs is actually very concerning to me because I'm constantly living in fear. So my paranoia, as he put it, is very valid because I have had to put up with stalking, threatening, harassing from him for years. I've also had to suffer the PTSD of my daughter being in his care all these years. And he just contradicted himself. So he probably did a pretty good job making himself look like he was being dishonest when he just sat here and said that he doesn't keep her from seeing me, but won't let her and won't make her. And he's clearly not trying to foster a relationship and has done everything he can to damage my relationship with her. I try to see her every weekend and I can't. He said that the stuff in the OPs weren't true. Well, if it wasn't true, it shouldn't be held against anyone, I guess. But someone in Davidson County felt like everything I said was true, which is why he went to jail for it. And I don't have a criminal record, but he does. He also mentioned that the child's testimony was transcribed. He's the only one who has had access to that. I have not had access to that. He has had access to that, and I have no idea how he got it, but that needs to be looked into. I also want to point out that like at no point was my ex-husband, who has been divorced for me almost 3 years, a threat to my child. However, Mr. Moore has actually physically assaulted one of my children, and she testified about it herself in court. She is also an adult now. All that being said, I think that he needs immediately, she needs to be returned to my care and custody. Everything that was in our original divorce decree needs to be reinstated. He needs to have some supervised visits. He's got her calling me a narcissist and some other things, and that's not normal for a child to call their mother a narcissist. Her grades started failing when she got there. I showed all the proof I needed that her medical was taken care of when she was with me. He has failed to do it.
Okay, your time is up. Thank you both. The court will issue a written opinion that will be sent to both of you in due course. It will be a little while before that comes out. Ms. Dempsey, would you please recess court?
This honorable court is in recess until 11 a.m.
Okay, you all may disengage the computer now. You can
Thank you,
sign
sir.
off.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.